You know, I have been listening to lives for the first time, and just feeling so encouraged and inspired to just also share my story. It feels like this is a meeting place. TikTok becomes a meeting place for some of us who have our stories inside of us that we want to tell or just need a conversation. And I had a wonderful conversation with a young person today. Forgive me, I don't know his name offhand, because I'm fairly new at engaging and having conversations. And every time, I am noticing, especially as I grow older, the more you allow yourself to expand and can make connections with other people, the more you realize we are more alike than we are unalike. In my life right now, I am a caregiver. I'm a caregiver to my elderly mother. And I remember when years ago it was my friends who were older than I am who were at that time caregivers to their parents, both or one, a father or mother. Um, and I just didn't know what it was that they were going through. I didn't understand. I just didn't understand. And right now, I've been a caregiver to my mother for 7 years. My mother is the youngest of her siblings that's still with us on this place called Earth. Um, it's a heck of an endeavor. So I just want to share a little bit. I got a lot to share on this. If you're a caregiver, you have a lot to share on it. My one number one thing is for anybody who has a family member who has dementia. Dementia. And I know Alzheimer's falls under dementia, but one of the things I've learned along the way is this thing about sugar. Did you know once upon a time dementia was called diabetes 3? Did you know that out of 7 years of caring for my mother, only one doctor out of all of her medical care team has acknowledged that with dementia, stay away from all forms of sugar. Think of it as diabetes. Stay away from sugar. Treat it as diabetes. Stay away from those things that convert to sugar really quickly. Why? What happens? It is a trigger. It is a trigger to this debilitation of the brain. With my mom, there will be immediate behavioral changes. And the best way I can think to describe it is if you go back to the movie Gremlins from the 80s, the Steven Spielberg movie, you remember what happened to the Gremlins after midnight? That is the immediate change when you give a person with dementia sugar, which makes you think about what the hell is sugar doing to the rest of us? So keep that in mind. And also, if you have anybody that you're caring for that's under your care, the other medical person pointed out to me stay away from over the counter pain pills. Like sugar, they also have a triggering effect. Stay away from them. Hospitals. So, when my mother's had to go to the hospital a few times, because here's another thing you learn. Apparently, dementia and UTIs go hand in hand. And I don't know if you knew this, and I'm the last person to the party. UTIs are deadly. If they go unchecked, they can take your life away. So, real quick, if you go into a hospital, which my mom did because her UTIs had advanced that far, and I said to the doctors, she cannot have naproxen, which is a leave, or um, any of those other Advils or anything. Hospitals only use Tylenol. And Tylenol, did you know that it doesn't have the same triggering effect as the other over the counter pain meds? People who take other over the counter pain meds will say, well, Tylenol doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, it also doesn't affect your brain as negatively as the other over the counter pain meds. UTIs and persons with dementia. I learned from a medic who was here at our house when something wasn't right, how to spot a UTI. One of the things is that the behavior, again, it will make absolutely no sense whatsoever. They won't make sense. So on that day that I called a medic for my mother, called medics for my mother, she was just laying in bed the entire day. She was lethargic. She wasn't doing anything. I didn't know what was going on. I thought she was just tired because she's dementia. She is sundowner, so she tends to be up at night. Um, and then when she did start speaking, she started just singing, just singing. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. On and on and on. So the medics arrive, and this is the one other thing that stood out that one of the medics said. He came in and he goes, it smells like a UTI. And I said, whoa, I've never heard that before. What does a UTI smell like? Here's how I can best describe how a UTI smells. It is like pungent, burn your nose hair urine. Like if it's in your apartment and you're like, oh, I just smell like pee all the time. I keep smelling pee. I keep smelling pee. I feel like this. When you step out of your apartment and you walk a block away, you're still smelling pee. That's how pungent that pee is. It's like it sticks to your nose hairs and it doesn't go anywhere. So if you are caring for someone and you walk into the home and it just smells like pee, go for a urine test, for a bladder test. Just go for a bladder test because you probably need an antibiotic. You probably do. There probably is a UTI present. So that was my second learning of it. So I also learned when my mother was in the hospital, one of many times, and in the past 7 years staying with me. What are one of the things I was going to say that you can that I learned from a medical person, a doctor while in the hospital, is that in dementia patients, elderly women are more likely to get a UTI than men. Clearly, I advocate for my parent who lives with me, my mother who lives with me. Think about how her life has been saved. So my learning about UTIs, the medic who taught me to look out for the smell that I'm smelling. And now that we live in such a small home, I feel like smell can become unreliable. Um, the other things that I have learned to look for are those behavioral changes. It's interesting because I think about how sometimes people act out in public, or you see an elderly person and they are just, people, I don't know, they don't even have to be elderly. They're just acting, for example, like Karens, or what's the male equivalent? I think Kens. They're acting like that. And sometimes I wonder, I'm not trying to be funny, but if a person may have a UTI, because why does it affect the behavior? So when the infection is spreading, it goes to the kidneys. When it goes to the kidneys, it is sending the infection in towards the brain, or it's affecting the brain function. And that's where the behavioral changes come from. And when um, it is so obvious. It's not like, are they acting different? Is that different? It is such a dramatic change, but it just taught me about just, this journey as caregiver. It's hard. It's hard. And it's been harder to go on and do things outside of here. So I'm going to end this here and just go on to the next topic next time, because I can get pretty long winded. And also, I don't know what this side of my hair is doing. I can get pretty long winded, and I clearly love to talk. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to just get it off my chest.